Hi, everyone. Nicole Russo in Kentucky and Dan Illman in New York coming to you with this edition of the Oaks Countdown. Let's take a look at the leaderboard as it currently stands toward a spot in the starting gate for the Philly Classic now on September 4th. And with no preps on the immediate horizon, expecting this to hold for a bit, the newcomer to the list is your new leader, Swiss Skydiver, who scored a breakthrough victory in last weekend's Gulfstream Oaks over what I thought was a pretty nice field, Dan.
Oh, it certainly was a very nice field. Tonalist Shape came into the race undefeated. Spice is Nice is a very promising Todd Pletcher train runner, but Swiss Skydiver controlled this race from the start. And I wonder if this race and this result had more to do with race shape than anything else. Swiss Skydiver was able to control the pace on a very moderate lead. She went 49 seconds to the half mile. Lucrezia, coming down from Tampa Bay Downs, was chasing in second throughout. It was a merry-go-round race. They ran 1-2 around the track. Nice Beyer speed figure for Swiss Skydiver, a career-high 90 for a filly that was due some luck. She had run very well without winning in her previous starts.
Yeah, and you certainly make a very good point about the race shape, but the performance didn't come out of nowhere, as you mentioned. She had finished second in an Oaklawn allowance to Bonnie South, who subsequently won the Fairgrounds Oaks. Then she was third in the Rachel Alexandra at Fairgrounds, behind multiple graded winner Finite, one of the division leaders, and champion British Idiom, before scoring this breakthrough win. As we mentioned, a big field due to several fillies who maybe might have gone elsewhere if the opportunity existed. How about some of the others in this field, Dan? I thought maybe it was a slightly improved effort from Lake Avenue. They've still got to be glad that they have some time to play with now until the Oaks. And Tonalist Shape, who you mentioned came in unbeaten, just didn't fire.
And again, you can give them these races now because the Oaks has been postponed back to September. If it was a dull performance and the Kentucky Oaks was right around the corner on the first Friday in May, you'd be concerned. But these trainers have plenty of time to get horses like Tonalist Shape, to get horses like Spice is Nice back on track. I am willing to excuse the effort for both Tonalist Shape and especially Spice is Nice. They were compromised by the pace. Spice is Nice at least showed a little bit of late run and might have a bit more upside potential. And I agree with you. This was an improved performance for Lake Avenue. I believe she might have been a bit too conservatively ridden with her speed. And we saw that speed on display in her previous two starts. I expected her to be up and right on the lead, especially if they were going that slow. It seemed like they made a concerted effort to have her sit. All in all, it was a nice step forward for her.
Yeah, and you mentioned Spice is Nice as a filly with some upside, and I agree. She's still a very lightly raced, well-bred, and well-regarded filly. And looking ahead, usually at this point in the Oaks Countdown, we would tell you what's ahead. But at this point, things very much in flux due to the evolving coronavirus pandemic. No racing at Keeneland or Aqueduct this month, which of course scraps the Ashland and the Gazelle, which would be major events in this division. Racing at Santa Anita suspended at the moment. So that big showdown we were looking forward to this coming weekend in the Santa Anita Oaks, a lot of fillies sitting on go, that's also off the table. It's an evolving situation with traders now playing the long game toward undetermined targets, as Churchill has yet to name its additional preps, as tracks haven't yet determined their remaining spring and summer schedules. The next Oaks preps scheduled as of now would be the Fantasy on May 1st at Oaklawn. We'll wonder who could wind up there. Perhaps British Idiom, who was looking at the Ashland. And Dan, perhaps some of these California trainers might be willing to head out of town just to have a place to run their horses.
I would certainly expect some of these Southern California trainers to ship in. I would not be surprised if we see Bob Baffert's Gamine, the $1.8 million two-year-old purchase by Into Mischief, who was 1-10 in her career debut sprinting and won very, very impressively. We know that Baffert likes to ship his horses to Oaklawn, especially the Colts for the Derby preps. Perhaps we'll see Gamine and Venetian Harbor and Donna Veloci. In my opinion right now, they're probably the two tops in this division, considering a little bit of an upset that we saw in South Florida on Saturday, considering Finite's surprising defeat at the Fairgrounds. I think those two are tops in the division, and As you mentioned, British Idiom, we all know she has immense talent, and we are expecting her, wherever she shows up next, to take a big step forward second start of the year.
Certainly, I was expecting divisional champion British Idiom to take another step forward. I thought her first race back was probably just what they wanted. And as the situation continues to evolve on what is now a long road to the Kentucky Oaks, our staff at DRF and DRFTV will keep you updated. Make sure you're keeping an eye out on drf.com for all of the latest and our latest videos. Thanks for watching the Oaks Countdown.